Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to the Esoterics Podcast. This is Fioraliz.
And I'm Joe. Today we're going to continue the episode 76 topic about soul contracts and soulmates, and we're going to explore soul connections and the different types of soulmates there are out there.
Oh, I love this. I love this topic.
It's fun, right? I love talking about all of
Yeah. Okay, so first let's acknowledge the elephant in the room, which is my voice this week. Oh.
Listen, it is a sexy, raspy voice, and it's not an elephant at all.
It is here. I'm here to greet you with my Scarlett Johansson. What's her name? Emma Stone.
Emma Stone. Yes. Yeah, it's that great. Yeah. You know what? All of my favorite singers have raspy voices. Johnny Resnick. Let me see. So The Cure, Goo Goo Dolls. I mean, like Gavin from Bush.
Yes.
Oh my God, like that raspy. I mean, that's the only thing that Chris Cornell doesn't bring to the table is that raspiness.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite. Those are my favorites. Who else? Old school Duran. They're one of their, I think, was it Duran? I think. Maybe, I don't remember, but yeah, raspy voice is sexy. So there you go.
Well, here I am.
Yeah, there you go. She's going to sing for us later. Okay, so what's going on with you? How was your full moon ceremony on the 7th?
It was great. It was a small circle, and I felt like everyone that needed to be there was there. I really loved it. Because this is the first one I've done that integrated any type of plant medicine. So this one was with rapé. And so I administered that to everyone. And then I had they had the option to lay down for a guided meditation. And then I walked them through a cord cutting and an inner child connection meditation. And like, almost everybody like had an emotional reaction. Like It was very strong, and and what I loved about it though was that everyone was like open and willing to share about their experiences, which is that's what I'm here for. Like that's what I love. Like I love creating that space. I love being able to hold space for people in that way and have them being open up and share. And the thing another thing that's just beautiful and that always happens is you come to the realization when other people are sharing in circle is like, oh yeah, like that happened to me too, or yes, I felt that way as well. And that's just that reminder that as much as we are different from each other, we are still on the soul level very much the same.
Very much. Fundamentally, everybody struggles, and you realize when you do this work how many people struggle. People that you would think don't struggle. Yeah. And that's not like satisfying. That makes you feel like I'm not alone.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So it was beautiful. And so I think I'm going to plan the next one to be a cacao ceremony. Yeah. But first I'm taking a class tonight about decolonizing cacao, because that's how I want to proceed with my ceremonies, and that's with my circles, is from that decolonized perspective of we're not just here for like your drive-through medicine. I'm here to hold space for you, specifically to show you what the medicine can do for you, and then help you integrate that lesson into yourself and into your being, so that you can actually take what the benefit of the medicine, which is it's that heart opening, that self-awareness, that deep soul understanding of yourself and of your pain, and the ability to overcome it and to be strong.
Yeah, that's the beauty of plant meds. So let me ask you this, because this is coming out of the Akashic records a lot, especially, just recently. So with the impact of colonization and then indigenous practices being, sort of snagged and misappropriated, by people that have no business making a profit off of them. All right. So everybody knows where Fioraliz and I stand on that. That's a big no. However, I am located in Portland, Oregon, which is a vastly non-diverse area. And it's very it happens typically with people that are like, I want to be a shaman, and their
Uh-huh.
higher self or my higher self is like, how about you try it, finding some different alternative, right? But there
Uh-huh.
have been a few white women where it's coming through the
Yes.
Akashics. They need to become a shamanic practitioner.
Uh-huh.
And so when I'm telling them, I'm like, all right, listen, here's the deal, but you're
Yes.
meant to do this. And so
Yes.
then I have to tell them, you're going to get pushback. You may get pushback. I need you to stay focused on your path. So, what do you
Uh-huh.
think about women that are 100% legitimately called to be a shamanic practitioner or use indigenous practices, but also to make a living off of those?
I think the primary goal with them, or the primary path that they should approach that through, is by reconnecting to their own ancestry. Because there's a lot of Nordic paganism, which is, that's white, and they have very beautiful earth-based traditions that are very, very close and just very similar to like Native American, Mesoamerican traditions. But because at the end of the day, truly, it's a universal thing. It's a universal understanding. It's a universal connection that we have for our souls to connect to the earth and earth medicines, plant medicines, all that. So that's what I would say. I would say is find the path that connects you through your ancestry. And then that way, that is a very grounded understanding of like, this is where I've come from. This is where my DNA comes from. And so this is what I can lean into. So when someone questions you, like, what are you doing? Where is this coming from? You can say, like, this is the origin of my understanding. This is the origin of the lessons that I've learned. Because that's where it becomes a problem, is if you don't have that groundedness in your learning, then if you're just like going to all these different cultures and just kind of like, oh, well, I like the chakras, let me grab some of that. I like yoga, let me grab some of that. And then you go and you just like relabel it, and now you've done the thing that people call, that's called whitewashing,
Yeah.
because you've erased the origin, like the original label that it may have come from, and you've quote unquote like rebranded it into
Right.
something else,
Right.
and
Right.
it's lost its authenticity, it's lost its meaning, it's lost its origin. And I think
Well,
that
we're
there's so
also
much
not
beauty
able
in that.
to honor where it came from.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
cultures and the practices around where it came from, which is really beautiful because, as you and I know, we love digging into the origins of things, and the origins are often more beautiful than the actual,
Yeah,
thing that
yeah.
we're, the topic or whatever.
Yes, yeah, yeah. So that's what I would say, because at the end of the day, like, nobody owns the earth, and earth and animals are there for everyone. So like, even the idea of like spirit guides and animal guides, animal medicine, all that, like, that's for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
There's that shouldn't be yeah, that shouldn't be
Yeah.
something that gets gate kept from
Mm-mm.
anyone. But yeah, I would say that. I would say having a grounded understanding of the lessons of the medicine, of where it comes from, and if you are incorporating things from other cultures, speak to that. Say like,
Right.
this
Right.
comes
Own it.
from here. Own
Yeah.
it. I learned this from here,
Yep.
and this is where that's come from. Because I had this is kind of a funny story. I went the other day to an art walk. Now my sister was selling her carpet carvings at, um, and there was this lady, and she was selling these beads, and they had the African shells.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about, and then there were this beadwork, and like it looked very like in a very indigenous thing, like, but I couldn't tell like if it was one specific culture, and the lady who was selling them was white. And so I like very kindly just asked her, I'm like, hey, can you just tell me a little bit more about like culturally, like, where does this come from, or like where is this, what is it? um Essentially, it was an amalgamation of different cultures. It was part African, and then there was also, it's for belly dancers, was really what the answer was like, these are tassels that belly dancers typically wear. They can wear them like around themselves or like in their hair, but that's kind of where the tradition of these things came
Yeah.
from. So she was able to speak to like, oh, this comes from that, and this comes
Mm-hmm.
from here. So it's basically a combined thing, but these are the origins.
I like that. I like people to have the knowledge behind that,
Yeah,
because then it also makes it feel as if they're not just doing it for financial gain or something that will
exactly.
sell, like, oh, these
Yeah,
belly dancing skirts, which are really cool. They're not really
yeah,
skirts, but they're like metal gemstone, beadwork that you can
yes,
attach around your belly and stuff.
yes.
The ones that I'm talking about
Hmm.
are gorgeous,
Yeah,
absolutely gorgeous. And,
yeah,
you could wear them with a pair of shorts on to a festival or something cool.
yeah. Oh, and that's a good reminder too, because you touched about making a living, and that's the other thing that I think is important to consider is if someone is doing this kind of work, the spiritual work, and they're any type of energy work, healing, all this stuff, it's work. Like the key is that it's work. And unfortunately, we still live in a capitalistic society in which our work requires an exchange for money. And that's just how it works right now.
Exactly.
And until the whole system doesn't change, or until we don't find other ways to like make it work for us, like unfortunately it is what it is. And so don't have a problem, like I don't have a problem with someone who charges for
Mm-mm.
their work. It's literal work that they're providing. So I don't see why you would want someone to go unpaid. Like that just seems really unfair.
That's kind of an old ideology anyway, that's hopefully is getting squashed every time some dumbass brings it up, that if you were truly gifted you wouldn't charge, like that sort of stuff. That'd be great. That'd be great if we could do everything for free and still get, be able to trade or barter for all of the things that
Right,
our soul
right.
desires. Because listen, I got to trade or barter for an airline ticket if anybody's down, right?
Yeah,
Delta,
yeah.
what can I do for you? Can I design you a piece of jewelry? Because I need a fucking ticket.
Right. Yeah. And it doesn't, and unfortunately it doesn't work that way.
That's not
And
how
the
it
other thing
works.
too.
So people need to calm down.
Yeah. And when we get into like older traditions, like in like Mesoamerican traditions, right? We talked about this when we talked about Maria Sabina. And now people are like, well, she didn't charge. It's like, well, yeah, because it was implied that your community takes care of you.
Right.
And
Those are different cultures.
Yeah. And once the foreigners started coming in, they did charge.
Right.
Because they had to, because why not?
Yeah.
You're foreigners. You don't have anything to offer me. You don't have chickens. Like, give me money.
Okay, I'm going to be honest. I would not care for the bartering for chickens unless that chicken was fully
Cooked.
Cooked.
Like ready to go.
Cooked, right? Because
Yes.
don't be giving me a fucking chicken. What am I going to do with the chicken? What?
I don't want to kill it. I don't want to do all that. I'm not killing a chicken.
Yeah, I'm not gathering its eggs. Where am I going to put this chicken? So, yeah, I'm not down with that. But
Right.
Well, speaking of chickens, how was your Easter? What'd you do? Did you do anything?
I didn't do anything.
I don't either. I don't celebrate Easter. Easter, it's not a thing. It's ham and I do like those Reese's Pieces Easter eggs though. Those are Reese's peanut butter Easter eggs. That shit is delicious.
Honestly, Cadbury eggs, like that's my inner child right there.
Oh God,
she loves those.
I'm gonna let you have that without saying anything.
No, I know. Mike thinks they're like the grossest thing because like texture, it's the thing on the inside. I get it. I understand. But like for me, I
love it. Like, if you love it, I love that you love it. I'm gonna let you have that.
So I'll trade you. We can trade. That's the beauty of like liking two different things. Now I can trade you for the thing that you like, and you can give me.
I don't want your Cadbury eggs. What you can trade? What you got?
No, you give me your Cadbury eggs. I'll give you your Reese's eggs.
Oh. Okay, yes, we'll do that. Okay, good. Yeah, we'll just do an even treatment swap. So I forgot that it was Easter, and I had to do readings at New Renaissance yesterday, which I have to tell you I was worried because it was a last minute swap, a change. Yeah. Like I was supposed to do it on one day, and then the scheduler is like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I don't have that day available. I have this day," and I'm like, "It's Easter Sunday," and I'm like, people aren't gonna, you know what I mean? So I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna do it for the experience. And I booked out solid that day, same day, and had people on a wait list.
That's awesome.
So it was very validating. It was a really cool space to read in. And I had the coolest clients. I had a couple come in for a couple reading. And so I compared their soul blueprints. And now how I feel about twin flames. Yes. I don't romanticize those. but
Right.
those two were legitimate twin flames, and it was so cool how they came together.
That's cool.
Yeah, they cried, and she grabbed him and kissed him and hugged him when I told her that they would continue to incarnate together and find each other in future lifetimes as long as their souls were, incarnated at the same time. And they were just a really sweet, awesome couple and fun to read. And so that was really fun.
That's so cool.
So I'm excited. Hopefully I get invited back to New Renaissance. It's kind of weird because there's 3 major places in Portland that I wanted to read at. And so then I considered that to be like the trifecta of sort of having arrived as a reader in a brand new city.
Yeah.
And especially a city this big. And so I'm now booked at all 3 of those places. So now I'm just going to try them out, see how they work, see where they take me. Maybe I'll, not read at one or the other, just, but it also gives me an opportunity to just read at each place just once a month. Which is kind of cool because, it's kind of what I've been wanting to do just to free up some time.
That's awesome, though. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That just means, people are waiting for you, but also that not everyone cares about Easter. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's right. We were talking about Easter.
Sorry, not sorry. I mean, it is what it is. Like, I get it. Especially if you have kids, like, and especially if you have little kids. Honestly, my kids were asking, they're like, where are our baskets?
Right.
Like,
that's what they are. They're the baskets. What? Where's the candy?
I'm like, I don't want to deal with some stupid ass basket later on, and then some fucking plastic eggs that I don't know what to do with.
And that grass that you'll find for
I don't
years.
want any of that. And then she's like, "Well, my friend got new shoes," and I'm like, "I will buy you new shoes. Is that what you want?" Like,
was that I'll say
Sophia.
middle.
That was Sophia.
Okay,
yes, yeah, that was. Sophia. Have you seen this meme about it's when your kids are too old for Easter baskets?
And they got the laundry baskets.
Laundry baskets.
Dude, if I got one of those laundry baskets, I'd be like fucking score. So my friend Lisa buys all of her kids. She's got 2 boys. So, and then they each have wives or girlfriends' wives, whatever. She puts together 4 of those baskets every Christmas, and they love them.
Yeah,
I would love it. I'd be like, what? Laundry? There's food and snacks and laundry soap and towels and socks and dryer sheets and all sorts of cool shit.
That's so funny. No, I think I'll make them a quote unquote basket next year. I guess I'll just get a box and then I'll just be like all the snacks and things that they like, and I'll do that. But honestly, I just wasn't feeling well, and I didn't want to do anything, and I didn't want to go anywhere. So that was actually what happened.
Okay, so listen, speaking of snacks, so Costco last year I bought a $120 membership because they recommended it because I bought a laptop, right? And it's supposed to cover everything. And they're like, if you don't make it back, you can get the difference, blah, blah, blah. So this year I got a check for like $16. And so I took it into Costco and I'm like, yeah, I didn't make that $60 back. So I'm like, I'd like to turn this in because I'd only been there one other time. So I'm like, I'm not using it. It's stupid. And so they refunded my $120. And then they also gave me a $60 credit on a card to use to shop plus the $16 check. Right. So I had, actually, what is about $60 to shop. Right. So I'm like, what? Okay. So I took that card and I went and I was like, what am I going to get? What am I going to get? Cause I love those 12 or 24 packs of Izzy. The juices.
Oh, yes.
And so I snagged 2 of those, and I'm like, well, now how am I going to spend the rest of my money? And I look over and I see that they had an air fryer. It was like $40. And I was like, snag, there we go. So I finally bought an air fryer that I got quote unquote for free. And I made those TikTok, well, actually these are Instagram vegetable sesame, fried. So it's vegetables and you put them in the wonton wrappers, not wonton, but the egg roll wrappers. And then you fold them and they were little squares and then you fry them and they're crunchy and then you dip them in I ate like 12. I totally did over the course of 2 days. I made a big batch of the filling and then I made, I would make them.
You'll have to send me that recipe because that sounds good.
Oh, it's good. It's really good. Do you have an air fryer?
I do.
Yeah. Oh, that's what you do. You have one, but you have a countertop. Yours looks like a toaster oven.
Yes. Yeah. It's it does all the things. I love it. It's the best.
Yeah. Yes. Let's see what else we got. I've got. I'm headed to Bend this weekend. For the weekend. of
That's awesome.
R&R,
How's
a weekend of
Bend?
R&R. So Michigan people will get this. So Bend is commonly called the Traverse City of Oregon. So
Okay.
for those of you who are familiar with Traverse City, that's where I'm going, but I'm going in, it's in the middle of Oregon, and it's in, I think they call it low mountain country or high. Anyway, it's a mountain.
Yes.
It's a town in the mountains or whatever. So it's like sunny, like 300 days a year there. It's like desert climate, but it's in the
Oh.
winter they have snow. In the summer, it's nothing but blue skies. So
Huh.
yeah, I'm excited. So I'm going to go and explore that town and go through the Cascade Mountains and see what that has to, what's going on in Bend. I'm excited to explore that part of Oregon because it's really beautiful.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take lots of pictures.
I am.
One thing I'm doing with the upcoming ceremonies and stuff as I'm planning them, because I don't want to overwhelm myself with too much to do or to plan ahead. Is I think I'm just going to limit it to one ceremony a month.
Yeah.
And then doing the meditation Mondays, every other Monday. But with the ceremonies, I'm going to try to schedule them, I think, for Sundays, because I think that's the day that works best for everyone.
Yeah.
Traffic, time-wise, all that stuff. But I'm also going to make sure to incorporate a scholarship spot.
Nice.
Because at first I was doing a sliding scale, which I think sliding scale is fine. But I think for this, because I just wanted to make sure that it's accessible for the people that need to be there. So whenever I post a ceremony, I will also have that scholarship opportunity. So you can nominate yourself or you can nominate someone, a friend or whoever, to come if you feel like they would benefit from joining. So that's
nice.
coming up.
So what's the low end of the sliding scale?
It depends on the ceremony, honestly. If it's just a regular moon ceremony with no plant medicines, it's usually 33, like 22 to 33.
Okay.
And if it is plant medicines, if it is a plant med, then it'll be like 28 to 30 something.
Okay, that's still
something.
Ridiculously affordable. I mean, and I get it. You're trying to keep it accessible, but
yes,
that's still that's really low. So, I mean, if somebody that can't afford like $22 or $28, then I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying that that's a wonderful opportunity for somebody that cannot come up off of, $20.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are people out there, man. There are plenty of times back in my 20s and 30s where I was like, $20, no.
Yeah. And we have a lot of college students in this area too.
Yeah.
So
college students, they never have money. They prioritize it on beer.
I know.
As did I back in the day.
Yeah.
As did I. Oh my God. Speaking of beer.
What?
Listen, I'm not a huge drinker. I think I've drank like once since my birthday in January. But one of the things that I've always been super sad about is that I can't get Michigan craft beer here. Michigan, I don't care. They have the best craft beer. So anyway, my friend Carrie, she went to school in Michigan. Her dog's name is Oberon, or OB for short, and that's named after one of the best Michigan beers ever. Anyway, so she sends me a picture yesterday, and it's her holding a case or a 6-pack or whatever of Oberon, and I'm like, what the hell? How did you get that? Where did you get that? Somebody like mailed it to her or something, right?
Oh.
And she's like, I got it at the Vancouver Fred Meyer. And I'm like, what?
Oh.
So today, then I went on Bell's website and I found that they're all over Oregon. So now they're starting, cool. Bell's is distributing here in Oregon. So after we tape today, I've got some errands to do, and one of them is stopping at and getting myself a little 6-pack of Bell's and having a lovely Bell's drink. So I'm excited. And the reason it's such a big deal is because they only release it once a year. It's released in the spring. It only lasts through a certain time. And it's just a regular plain old, wheat beer. Yeah. But it's a delicious wheat beer, and it's a big deal, and they have launch parties. It was just a really fun, good time, and it's a good beer. So yeah. So I'm excited about that.
That's cool.
Yeah, I know.
Yes. I'm taking a break from caffeine right now
Are
because
you?
I'm trying to see. Yeah, I'm trying to see if it'll help my skin issues because I think that skin issues are generally a sign of something going on with your gut. And I've heard one of the big disruptors for your gut can be caffeine. So I'm giving it a shot. I'll let you know how it goes because so far it sucks.
Well, how much? You're not a coffee drinker though. How did you get your caffeine?
No, I do. I drink coffee like every morning.
Oh, you
Yeah.
do? Why did I not? Do you just drink it
Yes.
black?
No, no, I just usually just buy it is a problem. That's another.
Oh, there. Okay, there you
Yes,
go.
I
All
don't
right.
usually make it at home. I will. I'll make an espresso like once or twice a week or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But one of my joys in life is being able to like go to a nice coffee shop and like order my coffee
Hell
and sit
yes.
down and do my work. So I'm just
All
gonna
right.
switch to like non-caffeinated tea and still get my my ambiance, but not so much the drink.
Can you do non-caffeinated coffee?
Sure, sure, but I usually get lattes.
Uh, and I get it, as amped up as possible. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
and I make coffee every morning here at home, and I do it's usually the darkest of French roast, deep dark French roast,
Oh, you
and
like
then
the
of
darks?
course,
Yeah.
I like a very specific creamer. Like if I go to Starbucks, I'll get really experimental, or I go to a coffee shop, I'll be like, oh, I'll try this or I'll try that. But at home, it's the
Mhm.
same old
It's the
formula.
Capricorn Network. Yeah.
Yes, and there is no deviation from it. The only deviation is that Starbucks makes an instant coffee, and normally instant coffee is garbage, right? But not
Uh-huh.
Starbucks. I'm telling you what, that shit is delicious. So I have a supply of it here, for like if the power ever goes out, and I can still have hot coffee. Um, so, but other than that, I like the same old coffee in the morning.
Yes. The upcoming things that I have meditation Mondays. The next one is Monday, April 17th, and then the next one after that will be May 1st. And so then every other Monday after that. So that will take place at Raincross District in the city of Riverside at 6:30 p.m. Those are donation based, but also if you've come to a ceremony previously, you are welcome to come to those for free.
It's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I got good feedback from it the last time that it was just nice to, have a place, set that time aside for yourself
Yeah.
to come with the intention of just doing the meditation, relaxing and then I'm gonna be doing some private events as well. So yeah, um it'll be great. Coming up.
Nice. I'm excited. I'm excited to see how it all pans out.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, you ready to start talking about types of soulmates?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
I'm ready.
All right, so listen, I'm going to start this episode with a quote by Katie Byron. Do you want to meet the love of your life? Look in the mirror. So in episode 76, I talked about soul contracts that were made with some of the people in our lives.
Mhm.
But this week, I want to continue the topic to talk about the different kinds of soulmates, friendships and connections that we have in our lives, and what energy and experiences that they will bring us, and then ultimately what lessons we can learn from them. And you'll probably recognize, as I describe these people, you'll recognize these people in your own life too.
Uh-huh.
I want to clarify that anyone that you have a soul contract with is in fact a soulmate.
Mm.
Okay, so
Yes.
I know a lot of times people think of soulmates. The term soulmate has been romanticized,
Right.
to idealize the idea of true love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yet a soulmate is simply someone in your life that you've agreed to partner with, to have a specific experience with. So, it's kind of like sterilized by that description, but that's what it is.
Yeah, yeah. Do me a favor. Turn your mic more towards you, like so that it's pointing at you. There you go. Yeah.
Sound better?
Yes.
Oh, I can notice the difference there. Yeah, thank you. Okay. And those experiences vary considerably. Okay, do you think I need to
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Okay. And the thing is that our soulmates, they have a way of forcing us to see ourselves a little bit more clearly, right? They're mirrors.
Right.
They mirror our joys, our desires, and our needs, but also our triggers, probably the biggest, right? Our triggers, and then any necessary healing. So when you look at soulmates from that perspective, they connect us to our joy, but they also connect us to our wounds.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So first I want to talk about relationships, because when you navigate a relationship consciously, they're the doorway to like your most authentic self. Okay. But also the key element of your growth as a human being. I'm talking like spiritual, personal, professional, mental, and emotional. Okay. Because when we think of relationships, like let's like pretend we're like 20 again and we have bad relationships with bad boyfriends. They're thought of as this thing that we experience. But how many people actually think of them as, if I navigate this relationship consciously, I can really grow from this. I just don't think that most people think of relationships like that, or I don't anyway.
Right. Yeah. I mean, maybe in our generations. Sure.
Yeah. When you're using that to consciously navigate them, so at their best, relationships are going to support us in being the best versions of ourselves, right? But we don't want to abandon ourselves or lose ourselves. We don't want to sacrifice our own needs, or repress our own voices or whatever. And I think that happens a lot with people.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, especially it's because if you don't know who you are going into a relationship, it's very easy to like basically lose track of who your authentic self is because you never came to know them in the first place.
Right. And then you're always worried about, being this version of a person in order so that the other person won't see the bad side of you or won't leave you or won't, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So, I mean, at their most challenging, relationships can be a fucking shit show. Yeah. They can really truly highlight the worst in us.
Yes.
Our insecurities, fear, control issues, depression, anxiety, narcissism, codependence, all those awful words. So, that's just something that I think that needs to be really consciously thought of when you're thinking about or you're considering the soulmates in your life.
Yeah.
Kind of, that's work. We don't like to do that, but
But our closest relationships are often the most work because they teach us the most about ourselves. They're there for our growth.
They're for our growth, right? And ignoring them or not thinking about them may have prevented us from having real meaningful connections with others.
Yep.
And here's the thing. I mean, I know that's one of the primary focuses of my shadow work over the years has been connection. So I would say that if you struggle with feeling disconnected from others, and I get a lot of people in the Akashic records or my readings that will say, I feel like I have a hard time connecting with others. That's the ability to feel connected to who you are, to yourself. Yeah. Your life, your body, your circumstances. Remember last week when I talked about people saying that they lose the weight instead of I lost weight? That's a disconnection, right? Because they're disconnecting from something that they do not want to feel connected to.
Yeah.
And then when you're disconnected from yourself, I mean, I know me personally, I feel a lack of self-trust, of self-esteem, a lack of self-confidence, a lack of self-love. I procrastinate, I avoid all of those things that nobody wants to do because they just bring, shit showiness into your life. Yeah. So anyway, the whole point of that was that if you struggle with feeling connected to others, I definitely encourage you to connect to a mental health practitioner and start the healing aspect of it, because I can tell you from experience that it is really worth it. It's really beautiful and worth it. So,
yeah, the right therapist will give you tools that you can use in your everyday life. And so even if you've already tried therapy before, and if you felt like it didn't work for you, or you felt like it wasn't a good fit, I would recommend maybe try it with a different practitioner, because that's my personal experience. I went through several where I was like, this is this doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Until I finally found the right one where I was like, okay, I voiced my concerns and she took that into account, and it was very helpful.
Yeah. And, I think that, there are some barriers to therapy, right? Like money, if you don't have insurance, that sort of thing. But if you do and you have the ability to get therapy, I recommend it because it was one of the best things I'd ever done, because it gave me an opportunity to talk about all of these things from an unbiased and get the perspective and insight and clarity from somebody who's unbiased, who doesn't know me, who's not taking the side of the other person or not trying to, tell me that I'm wrong or whatever. Right. It was just, I was able to just talk out this stuff in my head in ways that I wasn't able to with the people in my life, because they were always telling me I was wrong or overreacting or, my favorite, this is something my mom loved to do, was tell me, you're being hysterical. Girl, if somebody tells me that I'm being hysterical, or somebody tells me you must have misunderstood, I will snap. I will snap. It makes me so, I'm so triggered by that. So, and that's just because I was told like that as a child. So
it's just a strong trigger point because of that mother wound.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and come on. I mean, just to wrap up talking about listen, no relationship is easy. Not one. It doesn't matter if it's romantic, friendship, parents, siblings, coworkers. None of them are easy.
Your dog.
Except even Hollis. It's like, God damn, what's he need now? Yeah, no. So, and especially it's not easy. None of them are easy if you were raised in a toxic household, by people who were emotionally distant, who had zero, healthy communication skills, all those things. So there's lots to take into account, right? Especially when you're speaking your truth and you're asking for your needs to be met, which is really difficult. So,
yes. Yep.
All right. So if we are willing to look at our behaviors, from like a different perspective, or just our relationships from a different perspective, and see where, oh, you know what, these can help break patterns. I do this over and over again with the same people or different people, this can help break a pattern. So that just shows us where we can use them to have authentic and nurturing relationships that just grow stronger, and I think that that's important. I also think it's important to me because it's something that I've been working on, for the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So soulmates. So people come into our life for a reason, but sometimes we don't know the reason until after they've left. Sometimes we're happy they're left. We're like, good riddance, right? Right. Other times we're sad. It's like, oh, yeah. Do you have any relationships or friendships that ended that you to this day regret?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just like the one that was just very special to me, and I just genuinely just enjoyed conversations with that person, just talking to that person, and then the way that I could just meander through all these different fucking topics and we just talk about anything. And to not have that is just, it's hard.
Yeah, it's very hard. I have two people in my life, both female. One person, I will say, was a one of the topics that we'll get into. I'll mention them again, and then the other person, I take full accountability. She was very, very dear to me, and I just fucked up. I said something that I shouldn't have. I didn't say it intentionally, but it came out and it caused a shitstorm for her. And she was like, done. And I mean, but I miss her so much. I really, really miss her, and I loved her. And so I regret it, but I hope, I'll see her again in a future life where we can be best friends again.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to look at the different types of friendships and soulmates that you may have and definitely need in your life. So the first one is what I call family. It's the lifelong friendship soulmate. These are your chosen family members. This friend is constant. You have a natural rapport. You share a history. You make an effort to maintain this friendship because it brings you so many gifts. Comfort, happiness, acceptance, all that stuff. But this friendship is the one that's going to require you to step up with honesty and then a willingness to do the work, right?
Yes.
To work through those challenging times. You're going to have to show up for them. You're going to have to hold space for them. There's going to inevitably be occasional misunderstandings. Like I said,
Sure.
no friendship is perfect.
Right.
But you're able to offer and receive feedback, from somebody that you trust. I mean, there are very few people that you're definitely one of them, but there are very few people where I'm like, this is how I'm acting. This is what I said. Tell me, am I wrong? Am I overreacting?
Yeah.
Because most people, I'll be like, you don't know. Don't tell me.
Don't trust you.
I don't. Your life choices do not inspire me to ask you for advice on.
Right.
Mine.
It's funny.
Anyway, so these are the friendships that we grow through having the courage and willingness to have those hard conversations. And then there are also people that will come into your life that feel like lifelong friends. That's how I feel about you. Like we've known each other forever. And those friendships just sort of seamlessly flow into your life, and it feels, like I said, you've known them forever.
Yeah.
I think that's like the instant soul recognition where you're like, oh, there you are.
Yeah.
Very easy, very little drama. We just easily accept others' differences. Listen, y'all, she accepts my Capricornness, holds space for it over and over. So yeah, the connection is effortless and smooth. So the next one, these are spiritual soulmate.
Oh,
and these soulmates share a spiritual connection. So they're your woo people, your quote unquote tribe. These people know your deepest thoughts and truths and shadows because you're all working on the same sort of awakening. It's a contract that you've made with this person in the highest and purest form of love. Kathy Hargrove is my spiritual soulmate.
Yes.
Like she is my spiritual soul sister. And the thing about these soulmates is that this person may not fit into your everyday life. And it's not that they don't fit, it's that they're not, you don't see each other every day with the mundane and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But they are a huge part of your soul group and sent your way, sort of as a gift from the universe, or you signed a soul contract to be together.
Yeah.
Why? Because they specifically understand the challenges of your particular soul journey, and they hold space with you through it all. It's a soul sister brother person at the deepest level. So
yes,
I think everybody should have one of those.
Yeah, I feel like I have several of those.
Yeah.
The
casual friend acquaintance soulmate.
Oh.
Of course, we make contracts with people to be a casual friend or acquaintance.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Okay. Because this is what I think is really interesting. By maintaining a network of acquaintances, sort of like in our periphery, we remain open to opportunities and having that sense of belonging to community.
Okay.
So it's a really cool way that spirit uses these connections. So if you're out and about, let's say you're doing an event at Raincross and you're talking to somebody that showed up and you're like, oh, hey, yay. And they're like, they say this thing and you're like, oh, yes, right. Well, that's something to look forward to. And then you say this other thing. And then all of a sudden it starts to snowball where now you have this opportunity, or maybe it's a collab or it's another opportunity that sends you in a different direction. Right. It's just the way for the universe to bring opportunity into our life.
Yes. Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah. And that's how because I've done that a lot where I help people like get jobs. So I'll help connect them with, someone who's got an opportunity for them or whatever. And work-wise, that's one of my favorite things to do. Because I want to see everybody prosper. And so if I can help you in any way, like, that's awesome. So yes.
What's your human design again?
Generator.
Okay. All right. I don't know that as much as I know the manifesting generator. So with this one, the casual friendship acquaintance, that's why it's important to take the time to connect, even briefly, with the people in your community. And if you have a 5 like Fioraliz and I do, we don't like small talk. We will run from it. We don't like it. It's boring. But that's why it's important to make small talk, if you can, about the things that light you up, and then it's really not considered small talk, and just mention.
Yes.
Okay, this is my friend Lisa, the fun friend soulmate. You can't stop laughing when we're together. You know Lisa. You've met Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. This is the friendship where laughter and joy are central. Laughter bonds us with others. And also, laughter is when we're laughing, we're in one of our highest vibrational frequencies when we're laughing. So, friends that we can laugh with are crucial to our well being. We absolutely need them in our lives. I know that she is a lifelong friend because the minute that I met her, there was an instant connection, and we have been through it. We've had more what we call divorces than the average person, and these were big divorces, right? We would get mad at each other and have a fight and not speak to each other for like a year. But we always came back to each other. Hopefully there's no more divorces in our future because we've both grown and we accept each other for who we are. But that's a good one. You got to have a friend.
Yeah, I love those. Yes. Yeah, that's probably for me. It's probably my friend Brandy. Although we get into the spiritual stuff too, but it's just a fucking hoot. Like,
right.
Yeah, she's just hilarious, and we just have such like a really complimentary sense of humor, and so it all works together.
Yes. Lisa will send me she'll send me texts, and it's usually something absolutely ridiculous.
Oh my god, Lisa's, what's her thing? What's her box of what?
The box of queer.
Her box of queer. I loved it.
And this was before cell phones and electronic devices, so anything she would come across that was just stupid, like something ridiculous, which, listen, I'm not advocating the name. That's the name of it, the box of queer.
I know. but if we use the queer in the way that it means strange, okay.
Yes, and that's what this is. Anyone. Just tidbits of just the
strange,
weirdest,
quirky.
Yes, and it's ridiculous.
I love it.
Mm-hmm. She's a good one. Okay, so the next one we have is the mentor soulmate.
Oh, yes.
This soulmate tends to take you under their wing and shows you the ropes. It's a trusted friend, or it can be an advisor, a teacher, a wise person.
Yes.
I think of Erica for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They may start as a mentor too, but the relationship can evolve into a friendship with an opportunity to grow. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
So the mentor soulmate, that's an important one to have.
You know what I'm finding with some of these though, is I feel like some of them like they kind of mesh with each other a little bit, right? Like there's like some overlaps.
Yes, they all do. This was a list that was sort of put together based on there was like 5 other lists, and I'm like, now they all say the same thing. So it wasn't a matter of so I was trying to group them into personality, I think, much less categories, because they're all soulmates and they all kind of do the same thing.
Okay.
The karmic soulmate. Now this is one that's a tiny little bit different. This soulmate is in our lives to help us balance any karmic debt that we brought forward from past lives. And these people are energetically drawn into our lives.
Okay.
And because karma is not a punitive thing, they can come to us in the form of a gift or a challenge. Okay. If this person's present is a gift, bringing positive karma, then the universe has sent them our way in gratitude or in appreciation or as a reward for balancing or loving energy. And again, the universe sending somebody our way is experiential. So you get to experience the beautiful side of the karma that needs to be balanced, the fun side, the joyful side. So alternately, and then of course, if they come in the form of challenging karma, it's simply, again, to balance it. When karma's painful, we learn where we're carrying our wounds and we can begin to heal and all that stuff. So,
okay.
All right. So those are, the karmic soulmate. Do you recognize anybody in yours, a karma soulmate?
Yeah. I've thought of several.
Probably all of them.
Which I don't want to talk about.
Okay. We're not going to talk about that.
I'm not going to talk about this. But yes, no, I do. Definitely a lot. Yeah, a lot. I think any romantic relationship that started and has ended, that's what most likely that was.
Oh, girl. No. No. What you're talking about is the next one. This is my favorite one.
Okay. All right.
It's called the Wrecking Ball Soulmate.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
The wrecking ball soulmate can also be likened to that soulmate who they call them the season or reason person, right? The person's in your life for a season or a reason.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The wrecking ball soulmate offers unexpected gifts at a very specific time, right? Okay, so maybe they bring a lesson or they're for you during a particularly difficult time of your life, but basically they come into your life and then they fuck shit up.
Yeah.
They don't come in peacefully either, or they definitely don't leave peacefully, right? There is a clear what happened before them, and then there's a clear after them distinction. You break your life up into before and then after.
Mm-hmm.
So I have one. I was talking about it earlier with you. This person is the person that wrecked me, but that also was the catalytic relationship that sent me into my spiritual awakening.
Okay. Okay.
So I
Yeah.
have a lot of gratitude for them,
Yes.
but also like how they did it. I mean, it was a relationship. It was a heartbreak. I mean,
Yeah.
you all know how a heartbreak feels. It's no bueno. It's
Yeah.
awful.
And I've had one that wasn't as harsh, but was definitely a wrecking ball soulmate. But it was more of like a just asking the right question at the right time to where I was like, like my head was like blown. I was like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it just started, a series of events after that. And it was due to that. So it wasn't quite as intense and it wasn't romantic, but it was definitely that.
A wrecking
It was still.
ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have another one, and this one was a female, and she was a friend that I made. Remember I said I regretted 2 friendships? Well, she was the other one.
Yes.
And this one, she just showed up in my life just out of the blue, as a member of the spiritual community, and we connected, and we had an incredible bond, really, really incredible. And actually, her best friend, I had a really incredible bond with her too, because her best friend and I were sisters in a past life. And so when I first saw her, I was sobbing, and I'm like, why am I sobbing? And I realized that she was stolen from us, my family, as a little girl. And then that was the first time that I'd seen her again and knew she was okay. So it was like this trifecta of these 2 people that all of a sudden, like, I had my sisters back. It was very, very impactful. But through the nature of the wrecking ball, one other person came in and stirred stuff up, and this caused the 2 friendships, the friendship to fracture, because I was really hurt and really I felt thrown under the bus. And then that relationship ended abruptly, and I regretted it so bad because of what was now gone, that I had found was gone. But it showed me a part of myself that needed to be healed. And so I spent like the next year and a half healing that emotion specifically.
Yeah.
And now I'm really grateful for it, but I wish that I could get that person back. So
yeah,
back in my life. All right. So the wrecking ball, these relationships don't last.
Okay.
They teach us the lesson they came into our lives to teach, and then they disappear.
Yeah.
It's a transient energy, which makes the interaction super, super powerful, and it leaves an indelible mark on us. But it brings those lessons that we'll continue to come in another form, right, until we heal them. And so that's why they're so important. And then here's the other thing about the wrecking ball that's really sort of profound, is that wrecking ball soulmate holds up a mirror, and it forces us to see all of the things about ourselves that we typically avoid and don't want to acknowledge or feel. That's exactly what happened to me. The experience provided just a really powerful opportunity for growth. The relationship was painful at the end. The ending of it was painful, but it ultimately healed some dysfunctional patterns. And so, like I said, I'm really, really grateful.
Yeah.
So that's the wrecking ball. So I shouldn't say it's my favorite one, but it's the one I think where you can look at in your life and you go, yes,
right.
I have one of those. I have 2 of those.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the last one that I want to go over is the twin flame. And, so listen, Greek mythology, Fioraliz and I love Greek mythology. It tells the tale of humans that were created with 4 arms, 4 legs, and 2 faces. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And Zeus, don't even get me started on Zeus. 0 fucking self-control and 0 compassion. Oh, side note, there is a book out there. You can get it on Amazon, and it's legitimately called Zeus is a Dick. And the name of the author is Susie Donkin. And I have that in my cart, and I'm going to read it, and I'm going to do a future episode on it. And she goes through all of like Greek mythology and says and points out like what idiots they were for doing this thing. It's the concept is awesome.
I love it.
So yeah, I'll share that with you all in the future. But anyway, so mythological humans were created with 4 arms, 4 legs, and 2 faces, right? So fearing their power, Zeus split them into 2 parts, condemning them to spend their lives searching for the other half. Mm-hmm. And that's the Greek mythology around a twin flame.
Okay.
And then now twin flame experts claim that the key to finding your twin is actually you have to actually do the shadow work necessary to attract your mystical other. So first you have to peel away all those layers that that sort of blocked you from finding each other. And they also say that you can't recognize your twin flame if you can't recognize yourself or if you don't know yourself, right? So it's all part of the process. Mm-hmm. So that being said, that's the twin flame soulmate or, the twin flame connection. Yeah. But as we often say, a twin flame relationship, it doesn't mean, just because you have a twin flame, it doesn't mean that it's going to be an effortless, easy relationship.
Okay.
And as you know, we all know, we've talked about that these are some of the most challenging and difficult connections and soul contracts out there.
Yeah, I think it's just because if you haven't done your work, right? Because if you haven't done your work, this person's just going to be there and mirror all the work you haven't done.
Oh my God. And it's exhausting and awful. But if you've done the work, you are able to finally connect with this person at the deepest level. And you can then experience that love that's so pure and profound that everything you've been through will make complete sense. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but it is going to be a very deep, profound love that is unshakable.
Yeah.
And to me, that is true love. That is true love. A love that's deep and real and unshakable, regardless of, the cluster.
Yeah.
So there we go. Those are the soul connections. The different types of soul contracts, the people that can come into your life. There's more. I mean, I could go through this all day, right? It's really any type of person.
Awesome.
But to wrap it all up, it's just, I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm at this point in my life that I'm like, feeling the need to just, sort of write about it, but valuing, honoring, and celebrating all of our relationships is important, just because we've it's not that we don't value everybody equally, but there are some friendships there where I'm like, I like you. I don't want anything bad to happen to you, but I don't have time for you right now. Or you're, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But they're all important, and we need to look at all of our relationships and say, okay, what can I learn from this? Why is this person in my life? That sort of thing, and then look at the opportunities and lessons and love that they bring.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was listening to this guy talking about what he learned through ayahuasca. And that's the ayahuasca part is actually not even necessary to the story, but essentially the point is about surrender and how to surrender. Because that's really an important part of when you go through these like the plant medicine ceremonies, and when things get rough, like the whole point of it is if you surrender, then if you stop resisting, then you will have a much easier experience. So, but I think that translates over to life as well. If you stop resisting specifically to the lesson in this case, if you stop resisting to the lesson, and instead of asking yourself, oh my God, why is this happening to me? Yeah. Oh my God, why do I always meet the same, insert, type of person or whatever. And then instead surrender to the lesson and say, okay, what is this here to teach me?
Yep.
What am I here to learn from this person? What did that relationship, what did that connection teach me? Teach me about myself, teach me about life, teach me about what I want, what I don't want. And that's what surrender looks like. It's just having that curiosity of asking, like,
Yes.
why is this here? What am I going to learn from this? And that's basically all you can do.
Yeah. That's incredibly well said. Surrender, a lot of times people are like, I have to give something up or I have to stop doing something. And that's not what it is. Surrender is just saying, okay, this is what it is. It's radical acceptance and saying, this is what it is. So I'm going to look at what it is and see what I can take from that or how I can move forward or whatever.
Yep.
I have this one friendship in my life and it is constantly on my goddamn nerves. But the person isn't a bad person. They're a good person. They're sweet. They're kind. They're not duplicitous. They're not, they don't do shit, but they're always triggering me. And I know that that's me and not them, but at some point it's exhausting. And I'm like, I don't want to constantly be triggered. And it's also somebody who doesn't impact my life directly and I can avoid them. So it's like, those relationships are harder for me because I know exactly what they are. Those are the opportunities for me to speak my truth.
Okay.
But sometimes because they're so exhausting, and also I can be avoidant. And also I'm an empath and I don't want to feel their hurt feelings. There's all these reasons, right?
Yes.
I'm just like, I don't want to deal with it. So that fucking same situation keeps coming up. It's not going to go away until I address it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so their relationships are not easy. They're so hard. But I'm really, really, really glad that I have the people in my life that I do.
Yeah,
I have
me
good
too.
people.
Me too.
We're blessed.
Yes.
Okay, friends. Well, that means that it's time to say goodbye. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it. Get the word out. Tell everybody. Be like, hey, man, you guys, you got to listen to this podcast, Esoterics. It's the bomb. You can find us on all of the socials. I think we're the most active on Instagram and TikTok. Yeah.
Instagram and Facebook, I would say.
Instagram and Facebook. Okay.
Yes.
And you can hang out with us in the Esoterics podcast community. Right now, the algorithms kind of suck and there's not a lot of engagement. So I don't know what we're going to do about that. So
I know.
Yeah, neither of us are like, oh yeah, we'll get on that.
It is what it is.
Right. It is what it is. But anyway, but it's a safe place. It's a fun place to ask questions on all things spiritual. You do get answers from people, but again, I would like it if you would get more answers, but that's not because people are engaged. It's because of the algorithms.
Yeah.
So, anyway, it's a good place. So
thank you all for hanging out with us today. Stay mystical, magical, and don't let anyone tell you what to do. Not even your soulmate.
There's a contract for that.
Bye.